Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. Welcome, ladies and germs, to the Am I the Asshole Podcast. It is Thursday. We got another juicy, beautiful episode for you lovely people these weeks. We got King of Wrath, chapters, I believe, 27 and 28 today. Excited to see how this story continues and how things get on going. I think at this point, their relationship has kind of blossomed into something nice. I don't think our homegirl here is ready to accept it fully yet, but it seems like she's coming around to our boy Dante, But yeah, definitely let me know what you think about the book so far down in the comments. We're going to get into today's thread and then we'll hop into our book. So, warning, all right? Don't eat. Don't be eating right now. All right. I know most of you are usually cleaning your house and I'm on background noise or you're in the car driving. But if you're eating for whatever reason, make sure you don't eat. Why? Because today's thread is, what is the grossest thing someone has openly told you that they regularly do? All right. So let's see what gross things that people regularly do. In college, I caught one of my roommates using my toothbrush when I looked aghast. She said, "Oh, you're one of those people." Yeah, because I don't want somebody's toothbrush in their mouth. I don't want my toothbrush in somebody's mouth. That's disgusting, bro. That is disgusting. Like, I don't want anybody else using my toothbrush. That's a little weird. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, no. How is that considered normal? She said that shit like, "Oh, yeah, I share toothbrushes with people all the time." Like, huh? Like no. We don't share toothbrushes around here. That's kind of disgusting. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I mean, it's not like overly crazy disgusting, but it is just a little nasty. It's just like, come on, man. I know. Okay, what is the grossest thing someone has openly told you that they do regularly? Okay, this is about me. When I was a kid, I was severely and intentionally neglected. We were not allowed to use the restroom on our own because we might drink water from the sink when we washed our hands. Not allowing water was one of the forms of control, so we had to ask so she could watch to make sure we didn't drink anything. And every time we asked, my mom was always very mean about it, so my brothers and I found unique ways of going to the bathroom, peeing down the vent, laundry room sink, in the closet, etc. I would also get kidney infections because I would regularly hold it in until I really couldn't anymore. We were always too scared to ask. Well, this behavior unfortunately did not stop for me when I was removed from the house. I continued to be very scared of going to the bathroom if other people were near the bathroom, especially at night. I would be too scared to get up and go. I lived with this roommate. She had the top floor with the bathroom and I had the basement. It had a laundry room sink, and you can guess what occurred. I would rinse the sink, but somehow it still had a bit of a smell. And of course, she was pregnant and can smell it much better than I could, I'm sure. She mentioned cleaning the sink and I felt so ashamed. Luckily, I don't have that problem anymore. Maybe one more since living there because of the severe mental breakdown. But yeah, trauma will cause some weird things. I can't live with people who I don't feel completely safe around. Yo, that's crazy, son. Imagine being the type of person who, like, or just growing up where you can't drink water and you can't go to the bathroom. Yo, that's wild. I wouldn't even think that that's like something. Well, I mean, I guess it's gross because, you wouldn't use the bathroom. You would just use the bathroom kind of everywhere but the bathroom, Like, I get that. But I mean, you had a damn good reason, if I'm being straight with you. Damn, that's wild. Oh, man. That is some crazy shit. Hey, yo, parents, man, they need to get fucking arrested. You know what I mean? Like, they need to get fucking arrested, yo. That's crazy. Wow, man. All right. What's the grossest thing someone has openly told you that they do regularly? Kind of similar to the family poop knife. But I knew this old man who would have massive shits. Sometimes they were so big that it wouldn't flush, apparently. So the obvious solution for him was to use a literal scooper to relocate the poop to outdoors. He didn't openly share this information with me at first. I just happened to be at his house one day and was like, is that shit next to your porch? And he was just like, oh, yeah. See, sometimes the doo-doos are so big they won't go down the toilet, so I gotta scoop it out and take it outside. That's crazy. Imagine seeing your grandpa just walking through the house with a scooper in his hand and there's a big old dookie on it and he just chucks it outside. No way, bro. That is disgusting. And he does that regularly. He talks about it like it's a normal thing. Like everybody scoops their dookie up and just throws it outside. Yeah, that's wild, man. Oh my goodness. People are insane. Jeez, man. All right, what's the grossest thing someone has openly admitted to you that they do regularly? I knew a guy in the army who would go to a Walmart, buy the cheapest woman's thongs, and wear them during PT/gym. He would even take a dump and not wipe just to get them dirty and smelly.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Okay, then he would pose as a woman online, and horny old men would pay him anywhere to $50 to $500 a pair. These men were smelling a man's sweaty ass, thinking it was a lady. Yo, what? So mans would go to Walmart, get some women chonies, wear them all day, sweating them, get his crusty doo-doo all over it, and these motherfuckers would sit there and buy them? Yo, that's wild, man. My thing is why would you wear them? You know what I mean? Like, bro, why would you wear, like, you could easily just wipe your butt with them and be like, boom, here you go. You're like, you don't gotta wear them. What the fuck? Use them as like a sweat rag or something. I don't know. Like, that's insanity to me. That you would wear them. You would go through the I would humiliate the fuck out of him. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, there's no way a dude could be walking around doing PT and all that shit in a thong. And I ain't criticizing. Nah, bro, that's crazy. That is absolutely insanity just for him to go sell them for money. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. All right, what is the grossest thing someone has openly admitted to you that they do regularly? There was this kid who was on the wrestling team at our school who talked about not taking showers. He wasn't bragging about it or being obnoxious about it, just said it in passing a couple times. Anyway, he wasn't taking showers for like weeks at a time. Almost everyone on the wrestling team complained about how bad he stunk, and nobody wanted to wrestle him. It got so bad that he actually got kicked off the team because he was so dirty he was giving other kids some sort of skin infection just being in contact with them. Oh God, bro, what the fuck? Like, your parents weren't making you shower, bro? I mean, it would have gotten to a point where I would have just dumped water on him while he slept. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, dude, that's disgusting as hell. That is absolutely disgusting as hell. Like, why would you not want to take a shower? You have access to a shower and clean water and all. Like you have access to that. It takes like 2 seconds to take a shower, my guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that bad. Like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know, man. That's crazy to me. If I'm being honest with you, that is absolutely crazy. The fact that you can't just take a shower. Like, the fact that there are people who just don't want to take a shower. They feel like, oh, no, it's more natural, man. Oh, like, no, bro. No. Even, you know, people in the fucking Stone Age and all that shit, they showered. All right. They went down to the river and they showered. They did laundry. Like, no, don't give me that shit. You know what I mean? Even Native Americans and Aztecs and all them, they showered, bro. They didn't walk around with stank butt. All right. None of this natural bullshit. No, that's craziness. All right, what is the grossest thing someone has openly admitted to you that they do regularly? When I was in the Navy, I worked with a guy who refused to take showers. Nigga. Well, man, these motherfuckers just don't like taking showers. The only way he would take one is if enough people complained and someone who outranked him ordered him to go take one. He'd wear the same clothes for days on end, and when I asked him why he doesn't take showers, he told me, I just don't think I smell that bad, so I don't bother. Bro, you are nose blind to your funk. That's what it is. Mind you, we were cooks, and out of everyone on the ship, we had to have the best hygiene. We worked long, ungodly hours and were bone tired at the end of the day, but no matter how tired I was, I made time for a shower. But this man was just allergic to showers. Another guy earlier on got kicked out, and when they were going through and cleaning out his bed, after he was gone, they found a huge black rubber dildo with a fist on it that still had shit smeared on it. Yo.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
What did he say?
That's crazy. So not only was man not taking showers, but they found a fisting dildo with doo-doo on it because homeboy was just up in his bed shoving a dildo up his booty hole. That's crazy, son. Yo, what the fuck, man? Yo, wow. Just, yo, what? Yo, what? That is crazy. What in the hell? Yeah, I ain't got words, man. Oh my Lord. All right, man. Wow. All right. What is the grossest thing someone has openly admitted to you that they do regularly? I knew a guy who said he used to wipe his mozzarella on the wall of his bedroom after he jerked off. Okay, apparently he meant mozzarella as his, his jizz. So homie would bust a nut and then smear his nut on the wall. Yeah, what? Like, come on, man. You couldn't just, wash your hand. Yeah, like my thing is like, why? What is the reason that you gonna bust a nut and then smear it? Like, why? I don't get it. Like, did he just wake up one day and, he just like busted a nut and was just like, oh, I forgot the nut was on his hand, touched the wall, and was just like, you know what? This is a good idea. I'm going to rub my nut on my wall. It cleans my hand real good. Like imagine being a woman, right? And you walk into this man's room and you see nut on the wall. You see nut on the wall, bro. Like, I would think that would make a woman run for the fucking hills, bro. Oh my God. Even if I was his homeboy, there's no way I would want to go in his room. I'd be like, bro, you got nut on the wall. That's disgusting. What the fuck? Oh my God. Yo. You people are insanity. All right, what is the grossest thing someone has openly admitted to you that they do regularly? After, okay, hold on. Working at a bar 25 years ago, coworker told me he had wanked off in the girls' bathroom and smeared his load on the door handles and got off on it at home about how many women touched his jizz that night. Bro, dudes are so cooked. It's insane. Like, this is the shit dudes do. It's like, come on, man. Oh. First is jizzing on the wall, or jizzing in their hand and then smeared on the wall. This man jizzed in his hand and then rubbed it on the stalls and was just like, yeah, these girls are touching my jizz like, nigga. See, it's this type of shit where I'm just like, bruh, why, man? You know, like, now it just, you guys love giving women ammunition on like, yep, this right here is why don't they do, you know? Because it's like, bruh, dudes are just weird, man. And it's crazy because it's one of those things where it's like, dudes are so out of pocket and weird, right? It's like, as a normal guy myself, when I go out on a date with a girl, they literally expect the worst. They expect these kind of guys, and I'm just like, oh my God. Like, it's you guys that make dudes have to work even harder, you know, to get a girl, man, because it's this type of shit, bro. Oh my God. Like I said, imagine being the girl who gives the jizz on the wall guy a shot. Imagine being that girl, bro. Just imagine being that girl. Like, you are scarred. You're over here telling your friends, like, oh, girl, I dumped him because he got jizz on his wall. Like, bro. Like, that is going to be your bar. You go out with the next dude, and you're going to just be so skeptical of, like, he's all smooth and this and that, and he's just, hey, do you want to come back to my house, or you want to, continue this date at my place? And you're just like, I would, but I mean, you might have jizz on your wall, so I don't know. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus, bro. Oh my God. And then on top of that, ladies, hey, PSA, your bathroom, your stalls at your local bar might have jizz on them, man. Like, PSA, I guess. That's crazy. Oh my Lord. All right. What's the grossest thing someone has openly admitted to you that they do regularly? As an example of a fun fact, my boss shared with everyone that she makes her bed every day, but only washes her sheets once or twice a year? Oh my God. It was not fun, but I think she realizes she made a mistake when she heard all of us react. Some of us would try to follow up on this. She never got better about it. Yo! Like, this isn't the, most disgusting one we've, done, but yeah, sweetheart, you should wash your sheets at least once a month, like, at least once a month. Like, that's crazy that you do it once or twice a year is wild. Once or twice a year is too much. I ain't gonna lie to you, that's too much right there. Once a month is good. Yeah, like, and then my thing is, if you're not washing your pillowcase regularly, you must get acne like crazy. Because I know, like, there are times, when I forget to wash my pillowcase, and, sometimes I'll break out right here and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, bruh, because you're sweating your sleep, and I mean, that shit happens. Your pillowcase gets sweaty and dirty and whatever, and and so it's just like, if she's only washing her shit once or twice a year, I would think she's got mad acne. Like, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. You wouldn't expect that from a woman, but yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. Live with a woman and you'll start to understand, like, women aren't as cleanly as you think they are. Them bitches be a little nasty. All right, what's the grossest thing someone has openly admitted to you that they do regularly? I knew a guy who regularly wore diapers. He didn't have any medical issues that would require him to do so. He regularly relieved himself around others and would refrain from changing said diaper after doing so. He'd keep the diaper in his room, multiple trash bags worth, because he was too embarrassed to take them to the dumpster, bruh. Again, this is the shit I'm talking about, bro. Imagine being the girl that dates the diaper dude, bro. I'm just being serious, dude. He's just out on a date with a girl, right? And it's just like, oh yeah, work has just been dude's just pushing a dude. Dude is just pushing a doo-doo out right there at the seat. Oh my God, no. Yo, imagine going on a date with this dude. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are mid-conversation, and he's just listening to you talk, pissing in his diaper. That's terrible. Oh my God, that's terrible. Yo. Oh Lord. Oh, just imagine though. Imagine you went out on a date with a dude, you think he's, attractive, nice guy, whatever, and he wears diapers and he's pissing in a diaper at the table on a date with you, listening to you talk. That's wild, bro. Oh my God. Oh my God, dude, us as men were cooked because of these guys. Because imagine being a normal guy, right? And then you go out on a date with a girl, and, you may have like a concentration look on your face, because she wore a low-cut shirt and the titties were looking nice, but you're not really trying to look at the titties. You're trying to keep eye contact, show a little respect, you know what I mean? And so she's just like, wait, are you okay? You're not like using the bathroom on yourself or anything, and you're like, using the bathroom? What? She was just like, oh yeah, I went out with a guy, he wore diapers, and literally while I was talking, he was just shitting on himself. Like, bro, that's, hey man, and it might be even a thing where, she just sees your concentration face and it's just like, yep, nope, this guy ain't getting a second date. He was doo-dooing on himself just like the past dude was. Like, they might not even say anything. Dude, man, we're cooked. We're cooked, bro. That's crazy. Oh my God. All right. We're going to do two more and then we'll end this thread. All right. What's the grossest thing someone has openly said to you that they do regularly? Guy on my first boat used to ejaculate on his belly and then pull the waistband of his skeevies up and squeegee it into his shorts. Then he just carry on with his day, undies all nutted up. Come on, man. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Bro, why can't y'all just nut in your hand and then go wash your hand, bro? What is wrong with that? Like, did y'all get bored of just nutting in your hand and then going to go wash your hands? Like, did you get bored of that? Is that just no longer a thing anymore? Like, why in the hell do you gotta literally purposely nut on yourself like you're a woman and then sit there and, like, take your underwear and squeegee it? Like, what? Like, how in your mind is that you cleaning yourself up? Now you just got nut all over your underwear and you smeared it on your stomach. That's just disgusting, bro. And then again, I go back to the scenario. Imagine being the girl that gives the smeared nut on his tummy guy a shot. Like, come on, man. Seriously. Yo, ladies, you guys gotta let me know. Have y'all dated a dude who was just gross? You know, he was just absolutely disgusting. I gotta know. I gotta know, man. What did he do? You know what I mean? Golly, that is just crazy to me, man. Like, these dudes just don't think about that stuff, I guess. All right, what is the grossest thing someone has openly said to you that they do regularly? I worked with a guy in his mid-20s who had a room at his parents' house. He kept complaining about how his mom was always on him to clean his room because the smell was leaching into the hallway. I told him, then just clean the room. How bad could it be? He proceeds to tell me about the handful of piss jugs he collected in his room. Apparently, he gets high on edibles and is too afraid to leave, so he just uses that instead. I asked, are they at least capped? He just shrugged and said, nah. Different story, but the same guy. He also told me about his fingernails and toenail table that needed to be vacuumed off because there was no more room left on it. Bro, what? What? Why in the hell would you want to live around piss jugs? Why? Like, bro, just go to the bathroom. Why would you, like, even if you get high, what is scary about going to the bathroom, my guy? What the fuck? And then I gotta do it. I gotta go back to the scenario. Imagine being the girl that gives piss jug boy a try. You know, think about it. You go to this man's house and you're just like, oh my God. Like, you go to his room and you're just like, why does it smell like that in here? And you know, and he's just like, oh yeah, damn, that's probably just my piss jugs. And you're just like,
What did he say?
your what jugs? Oh, no. Yeah, no, I'm good. And then you go on a date with another guy. He's smooth, suave, all that good stuff. Hey, you know, how about we continue this date over my house? And then you're just like, no, I'm good. You know, nah. Because in your head, you're like kind of assuming, you know, what's next? You know what I mean? Do they got fucking, you know, doo-doo bags in their fucking room or something? It's just, oh my Lord. This thread has just proven to me that dudes are cooked, bro. And I see why a lot of women don't want to date a lot of dudes. Because of this bullshit. And I guarantee you, they've gone out with some of these kind of guys. And they're just like, wow, disgusting. Never again. You know what I mean? Like, damn, man. Damn. Oh, that's crazy. You guys let me know what you think about that, this thread in the comments, because boy, was it wild and it was funny all at the same time. God damn. All right, we're going to get through announcements and then we're going to get right into our book. So, patreon.com/Am I the Asshole podcast. Get an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenario to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday shows. If you are a Spotify listener and you want to get a part of the Patreon, don't worry, as long as you are a 7-day free trial member or you are a full paid member, you can watch all, or you can listen to all of the Patreon episodes on Spotify. All right, I got you guys. Don't worry. Spotify members and audio listeners, thank you guys for all the support. I appreciate you guys for coming out every week, downloading the episodes, all that good stuff. Thank you so very much. If you guys want to help us out even more, go ahead and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, as well as YouTube. And if you want to come and check out our live streams, last week on Friday, Halloween, we did a new book. We are covering a new book on lives now. It's called Haunting the Hunter. It is very good. We will be continuing that book on Sunday on live. So if you want to check out that book, definitely watch the live stream we did on Friday, get caught up, and then catch us on Sunday. Maybe finishing the book. I'm not 100% sure, but we are going to be continuing the book. So definitely get tapped in on that. I'm excited because I really like the book. It's really good. It's a really fucking good book. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. Without further ado, though, let's get into King of Wrath. I believe it's chapters 27 and 28, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on that, but we'll get into the book right now. Let me make sure everything is good.
Chapter 27. Vivian. Dating Dante was like rediscovering a part of myself I'd buried when I realized my future was not my own. The part that dreamed of love and roses, that wasn't afraid to open up to someone in case I fell in love with them and they turned out to be an unsuitable match. Even when I'd dated Heath, whom I hadn't heard from since the apartment incident, I'd carried an impending sense of doom. I knew my parents wouldn't approve of him, and the knowledge had followed us like an invisible third wheel. But with Dante, I could enjoy his company without worry. Not only was he a family-approved match, he was actually, well, likable once I looked past the scowls and arrogance. "Give me one hint. I promise I won't tell anyone." I plied him with my best puppy dog eyes. After a month, I'd finally grown into our new relationship dynamic. Lazy mornings, explosive nights, and all the quiet, beautifully mundane moments in between. I'd even convinced Dante to attend a wedding cake tasting. We would fly the baker to Italy for the wedding, though his input had been questionable at best. He'd liked all of the cakes, even the experimental coconut meringue one that had no business touching anyone's taste buds. For the first time, I understood what being part of a real engaged couple felt like, and it was strange and beautiful and terrifying all wrapped into one. Dante's mouth curled into a grin. We were making progress on the less frowns, more smiles front. Not a lot, but some. At this point, I took what I could get.
That would be a convincing argument if the surprise wasn't for you, Miyakata.
He drawled. All the more reason for you to tell me. It's my surprise. Don't I get a say in when and how it's revealed?
No.
I released a long-suffering sigh. You're a tough nut to crack, Mr. Russo. Laughter rumbled in his chest.
You'll thank me once we get there. This is a surprise that has to be shown, not told.
We were in the limo on the way to some mysterious date he'd planned for us. Judging by the route we were taking, we were staying in Upper Manhattan. He'd also told me to wear something nice but comfortable, so it couldn't be anywhere too fancy. Was it a private museum exhibit? Dinner at that hot new underground restaurant everyone was raving about? If you tell me now, I'll stop putting those flowers you hate so much in the guest bathrooms, I said.
No.
I'll stop hogging the covers.
No.
I'll watch a soccer game with you. I'll even pretend to like it.
Tempting.
He said dryly.
But no.
I narrowed my eyes. It wasn't about the surprise at this point. I just wanted to see if I could make Dante crack. He was infuriatingly strong-willed. I glanced at the closed, soundproofed partitions separating us from the driver's seat. Thomas, our chauffeur, was focused on the road ahead. Traffic crawled at a snail's pace. At this rate, we'd reach our destination sometime in the year 2050. Is there any way I can convince you to change your mind? I leaned closer and bit back a smile when Dante's eyes flicked down. My new Lila Amiri dress was modest in length, but its V-neck exposed a generous amount of cleavage.
I doubt it.
A hint of wariness crept into his voice when I put a hand on his chest and placed a soft kiss on the corner of his mouth. Are you sure? My hand trailed down his stomach toward his groin. His muscles were taut beneath my touch, and his throat flexed when I grazed his hardening erection. Nerves and anticipation fluttered in my stomach. We'd had sex almost daily over the past month, but I'd never initiated it in semi-public before. It was something Isabella or even Sloane would do, if she was in the mood. I was much more private. But the possibility of Thomas glancing in the mirror and seeing us sent a strange, unexpected thrill through my stomach. Plus, I really wanted to know what the surprise was.
Vivian.
Dante's voice was heavy with warning. I ignored it. I think you're wrong. I kissed my way down his jaw and neck while I worked his zipper down. I think... The soft rasp of metal dropped between my legs and pulsed. There's a way to persuade you. I pulled back and slid off the bench onto my knees. A warm heaviness settled in my stomach when I freed his erection. It was huge and hard and already dripping pre-cum, and a harsh groan filled the back seat when I swirled my tongue around the head. I gripped the base of his cock with both hands, and slowly slid its length down my throat until I hit the point where my eyes watered. It wasn't my first time giving Dante a blowjob, but I'd never fully get used to how big he was, how thick and long. I'd taken him as far as I could, and there was still a good 2 inches between my mouth and the top of my stacked fists. I whimpered, tasting the salty sweetness of him before I swirled my tongue around his head, softly at first. Then more confident as I fell into a rhythm, licking and sucking and bobbing until I was drenched. I shouldn't be this turned on already. My nipples shouldn't be this hard, my skin this sensitive. Every light graze against his pant leg shouldn't send a fresh jolt of electricity. But I was, and they did, and I was drowning in so much sensation I couldn't remember where we were or how we got here. I just knew I didn't want to leave. Dante's hands sank into my hair as the car went over a speed bump, inadvertently forcing him deeper down my throat. I spluttered, my chokes and gurgles filling the car as I struggled to accommodate the extra inches. But I didn't pull back.
Fuck, baby.
His groan curled low in my stomach.
That feels so good.
I looked up, my eyes blurry with tears from taking him so deep. But pride rushed through me when I saw the pleasure carving stark, sensual lines into his face. His eyes were closed, his head tipped back to expose the strong, tanned column of his throat. His chest rose and fell with shallow breaths, and his muscles flexed every time I swept my tongue over the underside of his cock. His fingers strangled my hair to the point where pain and pleasure blurred into one. There was something so heady about having someone like Dante at my mercy. I could either bring him over the edge or keep him there forever. His pleasure was entirely in my hands, and the knowledge thrummed between my thighs with heavy insistency. I increased my pace, my hands working in tandem with my mouth, and just when I thought he would come, he fisted my hair with one hand and pulled my head back. My noise of protest died when he lifted me onto his lap and crushed his mouth to mine. His arousal pressed against my core, separated only by a thin layer of silk, and I instinctively ground against it, desperate for more friction. Another harsh groan vibrated down the length of my spine.
You're going to be the death of me.
Dante's stubble scraped across my skin as his mouth trailed a line of fire down my neck. He closed his teeth around the strap of my dress and gently tugged it down while he raised my hips so he could push my soaked thong to the side. I didn't have time to do more than gasp before he was inside me, filling me to the hilt with only one thrust. I only had a few seconds to adjust before he gripped my hips and slammed me down again on his cock, hard, while he drove up inside me. Again and again, harder and faster, until my toes curled and the pressure building inside me neared a breaking point. I clung to him, my head thrown back, my body nothing more than a mass of sensation as I matched his rhythm. I bounced up and down, grinding my clit against him on every downstroke.
Just like that.
Dante growled. He grazed his teeth across my nipple, his breath raising goosebumps all over my skin.
Ride my cock like a good girl.
An embarrassingly loud moan climbed up my throat when he closed his mouth around the pebbled peak and sucked. Wetness gushed down my thighs, over his leg, and onto the seat.
You're making a mess, sweetheart.
He turned his attention to my other nipple and tugged on it with his teeth.
Should I make you clean it up, Have you lick your own cum off the seat while I fuck you from behind?
It was dirty and depraved, but his words triggered something deep inside me. My orgasm slammed into me a second later with sudden ferocity, causing my back to arch and my mouth to fall open in a silent scream. I was still trembling from the aftershocks when I felt Dante's chuckle against my skin.
Here I thought you were so prim and proper when I first met you.
I was too dazed to respond properly or notice when he maneuvered me into a different position. 1 minute, I was on his lap. The next, I was on all fours, my hands and knees pressing into the rough black carpet covering the floor. I wasn't sure how Dante managed to move us so I faced our seat and he was behind me, but I didn't particularly care. A shiver of pleasure zipped down my spine at his next words.
Spread your legs for me. That's it.
Dante's approval rumbled over me when I obeyed.
Let me see how wet that pretty little pussy is.
I was just coming off the high of my release, but anticipation built again when the tip of his cock nudged my entrance. When he didn't make a further move, I pushed back against him and whined with need.
Clean up your mess first, Vivian,
he said calmly. I opened my mouth, intending to protest. Instead, my tongue tentatively touched the leather seat of its own accord. The tanginess of my arousal flooded my taste buds. I should have been disgusted, but my core pulsed with need. My clit was so swollen and sensitive I felt like the slightest breeze could set me off again.
Good girl.
Dante's praise washed over me like a warm aphrodisiac before he gripped my hair and thrust into me again. My mind blanked. I broke out into a fresh sweat, my fingers digging into the bench as he pounded into me. Every time I caught my breath, another thrust knocked it out of my lungs again. Sensations stretched my skin taut and made me lightheaded until the world dissolved into nothing more than a symphony of squeals, moans, and the slap of flesh against flesh. Minutes, hours, days. Time grew increasingly disjointed until Dante reached around and pinched my clit. The sudden spike of pleasure yanked me back to the present and made my back bow from the intensity. Only half my resulting scream made it out before a hand clamped over my mouth.
Shh.
Dante murmured.
You don't want people to hear how much you love being fucked like this, do you? On all fours in the backseat of a car, taking every inch of my cock like you're fucking made for it.
He gave my clit another long, lazy stroke with his other hand.
It's not very becoming of a society heiress.
The gentleness of his voice, contrasted with the filthiness of his words and the brutal slam of his cock inside me, tipped me over the edge. My second orgasm of the night crashed over me, so powerful and all-consuming it drowned out every other sound, including my cry of release. It was just silence and the hot electric pleasure lighting up my body as I came apart so thoroughly I didn't know how I would ever be put back together. Stars burst behind my eyes. I vaguely heard Dante's groan as he came, but I was riding too high to focus on anything else. Just when I thought it was over, another wave dragged me under, again and again, until I was a limp, trembling mess, held together only by Dante's arm beneath my waist and the weight of his body above my own. He smoothed my hair back from my face and kissed my shoulder as I gradually drifted down from my peak. I slumped forward, trying to catch my breath while Dante cleaned me up with a tissue and pulled my dress down. He didn't speak, but the tenderness of his actions said more than words could. When my breathing evened out, he lifted me onto the seat again and handed me my purse.
We're here.
His voice smoothed into its usual velvet, albeit one with a faintly ragged edge. What? I tried to make sense of his words through my post-climax fog. A smile tugged on his mouth. I didn't know when, but he'd somehow already fixed his clothes. Save for his tousled hair and the color on his cheekbones, he looked like he'd spent the past half hour chatting about the weather instead of fucking me into oblivion.
We're here.
He repeated. He rubbed a gentle thumb over my bottom lip.
Might want to fix your lipstick, Miyakata. As beautiful as you look freshly fucked, I would hate to ruin our evening by having to kill every other man who sees you like this.
My cheeks flushed, doubly so when I caught my reflection in the car window and saw the distinctive white building outside. We were at Valhalla, which meant we'd passed through security while we were... Heat raced from my face down over my neck and chest. My hair was a mess, my mascara and lipstick smudged, and little red marks from Dante's teeth and stubble peppered my skin. Anyone looking at me would know exactly what I'd been up to. But despite my embarrassment, I couldn't bring myself to regret what happened. That had been the best sex of my life. Hands down.
Don't worry.
Dante accurately assessed my worry.
The windows are tinted and Thomas is on the authorized guest list. They couldn't see us from the front.
Thomas? Oh, God! What if he'd looked in the rearview mirror and...
The partition is also tinted.
Dante added. Right. I avoided his gaze as I fixed myself the best I could. Luckily, I always carried a mini makeup kit with me, but there wasn't much I could do about the marks on my skin, so I settled for borrowing Dante's jacket. My heart thumped when Thomas opened the door for us. He bid us a polite good evening, his face studiously blank. My skin flamed anew. He might not have seen or heard us, but he definitely knew what we'd been doing. Don't say a word, I warned as Dante and I walked toward Valhalla's entrance.
I won't.
Laughter lurked beneath his voice.
But if it makes you feel better, it's not the first time Thomas has seen action in his back seat.
I slid a sideways glance at him. Make a habit of limo sex, do you? Amusement pulled at the corners of his mouth.
He used to work for William Haverton. The man is in his 60s but has a fat wallet and the libido of a college frat boy. You do the math.
We passed through the club's foyer.
I assure you I don't make a habit of limo sex.
Oh, I cleared my throat. I see. His smile blossomed in full, dark and wicked.
Jealous?
Not in the least. I held my head high and ignored his knowing chuckle. It was only when we reached the elevator that I realized I'd completely forgotten to ask him about the surprise date before we arrived. Since Valhalla's top 2 floors had been closed during the fall gala, Dante gave me a quick tour of the places we'd missed during my last visit, including the spa, an indoor bowling alley, and an arcade lined with rare vintage games. I would have enjoyed it more had I not been so impatient to find out what the big mystery date was.
Are you still mad you didn't get the surprise out of me in the car?
Dante asked as we stopped in front of a set of double doors on the 4th floor. No. Yes.
At least we both got orgasms out of it.
He drawled.
It was a win-win situation.
Laughter crinkled the edges of his eyes when I swatted his arm, my face hot, but his boyish smile was so endearing I couldn't hold on to my annoyance.
Like I said, it's something that's better seen than told.
He tilted his head toward the closed room.
This is the club's multi-purpose space. Members can reserve it and turn it into anything they want. It's been a private concert hall, a vintage porcelain doll exhibit.
My eyebrows shot up.
One of the members is a collector, don't ask.
He opened the doors.
Hopefully this makes up for the wait.
Oh my God. I sucked in a sharp inhale. When he'd said multi-purpose space, I'd pictured whiteboards and industrial gray carpet. Theoretically, I knew Valhalla wouldn't house something so generic, but nothing could have prepared me for the sight before me. He'd turned the room into a planetarium. No, not a planetarium, a virtual galaxy. Brilliant stars splashed across the soaring walls and ceiling and swirled beneath our feet. Constellations dotted the sky, including Andromeda, Perseus, and a distinctive hourglass shape that made my breath hitch. Orion, my favorite.
You can't see the stars in New York.
Dante said.
So I brought the stars to you.
A ball of emotion formed in my throat. How did you? He followed my gaze to Orion. It sparkled front and center, shining more brightly than the rest.
I had a call with your sister. She told me it was your favorite.
He guided me into the room.
Apparently you wouldn't shut up about Orion when you were younger. Her words.
Agnes would say that. Dante's face softened with an uncharacteristic hint of uncertainty.
Do you like it?
I laced my fingers with his, my chest indescribably tight. It's perfect. We'd gone on more than half a dozen dates over the past month. They'd ranged from lavish, like the helicopter tour after our milkshakes and an overnight getaway to Bermuda, to casual, like a stroll through Chelsea Market and a show at the Comedy Cellar. But none had hit me quite as hard as tonight's. The fact Dante had gone to the trouble of setting this up and consulting my sister, when he could have easily taken me to the planetarium instead. It touched a part of me I hadn't thought anyone could reach. His shoulders relaxed and he squeezed my hand in silent reply as we walked to the center of the room, where a pile of blankets, cushions, and a dinner spread awaited us. I sank onto a pale blue cushion while Dante picked up a distinctive wine bottle. Was that?
Doman de la Homine Conti.
He confirmed. Dante uncorked the famous red and poured it into 2 glasses.
Courtesy of the club sommelier.
Known for its high quality and limited production, Domaine de la Romani Conti, or DRC, was one of the most expensive wines in the world. An average bottle cost upwards of $26,000. Bringing out the big guns, I teased. Dante Russo, are you trying to impress me?
Depends.
He handed me a glass and watched as I took a small sip.
Is it working?
The rich flavors of berry fruits, violets, and cassis burst onto my tongue, mixed with a fine minerality and complex earthiness. Textural, potent, elegant. No wonder people were willing to shell out the big bucks for a bottle. It was the best wine I'd ever tasted. Yes, I said, already heady from one sip and a night that had barely begun. Quite well.
Then yes, I am.
His eyes danced with amusement as I went back for seconds.
You're turning red, Miyakara.
I was extremely sensitive to red wine, which was why I usually stuck with whites and rosés. Even those made my face glow crimson after a glass or two, but the DRC was too exquisite to waste. It's not my fault, I said, embarrassed. It's the tannins.
It's adorable.
He brushed a thumb over my flushed cheek. Warmth curled low in my stomach. Grumpy, brooding Dante had grown on me the past few months. But sweet, playful Dante? He was kryptonite to my heart. After dinner, I pulled a blanket over us and rested my head on Dante's shoulder, half sleepy and half buzzing from the high of the date. He wrapped an arm around my waist, the weight strong and comforting against my back. The stars twinkled above us like a display of diamonds on midnight velvet. They were projections, but they looked so real I almost believed we were somewhere in the wilderness, watching the skies and listening to the silence. When I was little, our parents would take us camping. I didn't know where the words came from, but they felt right for the moment. My father would drive. My mother would pack way too many snacks, and my sister and I would try to spot as many states' license plates on the road as we could. I hated bugs, and I wasn't a big outdoors person, but I'd loved those trips because we'd done them as a family. Since then, we'd upgraded to summers in St. Tropez and Christmases in St. Barth's, but I missed the simplicity of our early family vacations. At night, when we were supposed to be asleep, Agnes and I would sneak out of our tent and count the stars. I continued. We'd pretend they were people living in a celestial realm and made up backstories for all of them.
Any interesting ones?
I smiled. Tons. One was plotting to overthrow the ruler of the kingdom. Another was having an affair with her awful husband's most trusted guard. Shooting stars were people who'd been exiled and cast down to earth. Dante's laugh vibrated through my body.
Sounds like a soap opera.
We were children. We had active imaginations, okay? I nudged his leg with mine. Don't tell me you never made up stories about the things around you.
Sorry to disappoint, but my imagination isn't as good as yours.
He rubbed an absent-minded thumb over my hip.
My family never went camping. My grandfather was strictly a resort or private estate type of person. He didn't want Luca and me to lose touch with our culture, so he sent us to Italy with Greta every summer. We have houses all over the country. Rome, Tuscany, Milan. We visited a different place every year.
What's your favorite place in Italy?
Villa Serafina.
His family's estate in Lake Como.
The lake, the gardens. 12-year-old me thought it was magical.
Where the wedding will take place, I murmured. I can't wait to see it. We were scheduled to stay there in the month leading up to the ceremony. I'd only seen pictures, but even through a screen it was breathtaking.
Yes.
A strange note entered Dante's voice.
Where the wedding will take place.
It'll be perfect. My mother wouldn't have it any other way, I said dryly. She'd been driving me nuts with endless calls about the flowers, tableware, and 1,000 other details she shouldn't be micromanaging, but I hadn't expected anything less. I was her last opportunity to go all out on a big wedding. At least my father isn't also hounding me about china patterns. He got the date he wanted. That's all he cares about.
August 8th. Let me guess, it's the date he made his first million.
I laughed. Close, but not quite. 8 is his favorite number. Dante's thumb paused before it resumed caressing my skin.
The number 8? Really?
Yes. I yawned. Nothing made me sleepier than wine and sex, and I'd had the best of both tonight. It's a lucky number in Chinese culture because it's associated with wealth. When my parents were house hunting, they specifically looked for places with 8 in their address. My father is very superstitious about things like that.
I never would have guessed.
Dante's tone cooled the way it always did when we discussed my father. I lifted my head. A distracted expression crossed his face, but it disappeared when he saw me looking. You don't like my family very much. I'd picked up on it at our introductory dinner, but it had become increasingly evident since. Every time I mentioned my parents, Dante's face shut down, and I could feel him mentally withdraw. When we visited Boston for Christmas, he spent most of his time communicating in glares and one-word answers. It had been the most awkward 4 days of my life.
I don't like a lot of people,
He said evasively.
but if we're being honest, Francis and I will never be best friends. We have different outlooks on life.
Before I could respond, he cupped my face and brushed my lips with his.
No more talk about family.
He said.
We have the room to ourselves for the night, and I can think of a few other things that I would much rather be doing.
Any resistance I had melted when he deepened the kiss. My lips parted, and my sigh invited him in. He slid his tongue against mine, tasting like wine and heat and sin. Dante was right. It was a beautiful night, and there was no reason to dampen it with talk of family. A lingering sense of unease prickled the back of my neck, but I brushed it aside. So what if Dante and my father didn't see eye to eye on everything? Some antagonism was expected among fathers and their sons-in-law. It wasn't like they were going to punch each other at the next holiday gathering. Plus, my parents lived in a different city. We wouldn't see them much anyway. I had nothing to worry about.
Chapter 28. Dante. Vivian and I had one more blissful week to ourselves before her parents blew into town like a tornado, sudden, unexpected, and carving a path of destruction in their wake. One minute I was planning a symphony date with Vivian. The next I was sitting across from Francis and Cecilia Lau in Lou Charles, fighting the urge not to knock the smug smile off Francis's face. Our conversation about him at Valhalla had summoned him like a demon out of hell. I'm glad we could make this work. He unfolded his napkin and placed it on his lap. I hope we're not disrupting your plans too much.
Not at all.
Vivian placed her hand over mine under the table and gently uncurled my fist.
We're thrilled to see you.
I remained silent. Her parents had arrived unannounced that morning and requested dinner with us sometime during their stay. Considering they were only here for 2 nights and they had tickets to a Broadway show with friends tomorrow, tonight was the only option.
We haven't seen you since Christmas, so we figured we'd check in. See how the wedding planning is going.
Cecilia toyed with her pearls.
You never answered my question the other day about the flowers. Shall we go ahead with the lilies?
Vivian shifted in her seat. Instead of her usual dress, heels, and red lipstick, she wore a tweed suit similar to the one from our first meeting. Her necklace was identical to her mother's, and the sparkling vivaciousness I'd come to appreciate had dulled into painful gentility. It wasn't her. It was some Stepford clone version of her that only showed up when Francis and Cecilia were in the room, and I hated it.
Yes,
She said.
the lilies are fine. Excellent.
Cecilia beamed.
Now, about the cake.
Thankfully, our server showed up at that moment and interrupted her before she launched into a spiel about icing or whatever the hell she wanted to talk about. We'll have the golden imperial caviar and tuna tartare on foie gras to start, and the lamb chops for the main, Francis said, ordering for both himself and his wife. He handed the menu dismissively to the server without looking at him.
I'll have the tagliatelle, please.
Vivian said. Francis's brows beetled. This isn't an Italian restaurant, Vivian. They're known for their lamb. Why don't you get that instead? Because she doesn't like lamb, you fucker. My back teeth clenched. Even if Francis weren't blackmailing me, I'd despise him. How could he have gone 28 years without knowing his daughter's aversion to that particular meat? Or maybe he simply didn't care. The wait list for Le Charles reservation is 4 months long, Francis said. Even the governor has trouble getting a table when he's in town. It's ridiculous to waste a meal here on anything other than their best.
Vivian
faltered.
You're right. Can I change my order to the lamb, please?
She gave the server an apologetic smile.
Thank you.
Of course. The server's polite expression didn't waver. We might as well be discussing the weather for all the reaction he showed. And for you, Mr. Russo? I closed my menu with deliberate precision and kept my eyes on Vivian's father while I ordered. I'd like the tagliatelle. Francis's lips thinned. If we were at home, I would have called him out directly, but we were sitting smack dab in the middle of the restaurant. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of making a scene. How's your brother doing? Francis asked. I hear he's working a sales job at Lohman & Sons now. Seems below his pay grade. He's doing just fine, I said coolly. Contribution is contribution, whether it's in a retail or corporate role. He lifted his wine to his lips. We'll have to agree to disagree. I wasn't fooled by the seemingly innocuous change in topic. Francis was trying to remind me what was at stake. He said he was in town for a show, but the sudden visit was a power play designed to throw me off balance. We were only a few months out from the wedding. He was many things, but he wasn't stupid. He must have known I was working behind the scenes to destroy the blackmail evidence. I'd been quiet too long, and he was getting nervous, for good reason. My Valhalla date with Vivian had triggered an epiphany. She said he was superstitious about dates and numbers, and the digging I had Christian do in the past week backed up her assertion. His home address, his business address, his license plate, all of it centered around the number 8. I'd bet my brother's life he had 8 copies of the blackmail photos. Christian was already tracking down the remaining 3 sets. Once he found them, it was game over for Francis fucking Lau. For the first time that night, I smiled. The rest of dinner passed without incident. Vivian and her mother carried the conversation, though it took all my willpower not to lose my shit when Cecilia chastised her for wearing the wrong makeup shade, or when her father overruled her dessert choice the way he had her entree by insisting she try the restaurant's chocolate tart instead of the cheesecake. I didn't know what was worse, her parents' overbearing attitude or Vivian's willingness to take it. She would have never let me talk to her the way they did.
Whatever you want to say it,
she said when we returned home. She took off her earrings and dropped them in the gold dish on the dresser.
You've been silently fuming the entire car ride home.
I took off my jacket and tossed it over the back of a chair. Not fuming, simply wondering how you overcame your lifelong disdain for lamb within the past 24 hours. Vivian sighed.
It's one meal. It's not a big deal.
It's not about the food, Vivian. Aggravation simmered in my veins. It's about the way your parents treat you like you're a child. It's about how you turn into a cardboard cutout of yourself whenever you're around them. I gestured at her outfit. This isn't you. You hate lamb. You're not a tweed and pearls person. You wouldn't be caught dead in that outfit on a normal day.
Well, it's not a normal day.
A hint of irritation slipped into her voice. I wasn't the only one on edge tonight.
Do you think I enjoy having my parents show up at the last minute? Or that I like being criticized for everything I say and wear? Maybe this isn't what I'd choose to wear if they weren't here, and maybe I wouldn't have ordered the lamb if my father hadn't insisted, but sometimes you have to compromise to keep the peace. They're here for 2 days. It's not a big deal.
It's 2 days this time, but what about in the future? I asked, my voice hard. Every holiday, every visit, for the rest of your life. Tell me it's not exhausting pretending to be someone you're not with the 2 people who should accept you as you are. Vivian tensed.
People do that every day. They go to work and show one side of themselves. They go out with friends and show another side. It's normal.
Yeah, except they're not your colleagues or your fucking friends, they're your family, and they treat you like shit. My frustration boiled over into a shout.
They're my parents!
Vivian's voice rose to match mine.
They're not perfect, but they have my best interests at heart. They sacrificed a lot to give me and my sister the type of life they never had growing up. Even before we were rich, they worked their butts off to make sure we could afford the same clothes and field trips as our classmates so we weren't left out. So if I have to give up some things temporarily to make them happy, I will.
Temporarily, huh? Is that why your father basically sold you both off in exchange for a rung up on the social ladder? Vivian's face paled, and regret slammed into me, hard and fast. Fuck. Viv.
No.
She held up a hand.
That was exactly what you meant to say, so don't take it back.
My jaw tightened. I don't see you as a bargaining chip, but can you honestly tell me your parents feel the same way? I'm not trying to make you feel bad, amore mio, but you don't have to put up with their bullshit. You're an adult. You're beautiful, successful, intelligent, and 3 times the person either of them will ever be. You have your own money and career. You don't need them.
It's not about needing them. It's about family.
Frustration etched lines on Vivian's face.
We do things differently, okay? Respect for our elders is important. We don't talk back just because we don't like what they say.
Yeah, well, sometimes elders are full of horseshit, and you need to call them out on it. I was belaboring the point, but I hated how Vivian turned into a shell of herself around her parents. It was like watching a beautiful, vibrant rose wither before my eyes.
You can.
She fired back.
You grew up the heir to the Russo Empire. Yes, I know it wasn't all fun and games, but you were still the center of your grandfather's attention. I had to be perfect just to get an ounce of affection. My grades, my image, everything.
That's my fucking point. You shouldn't have to be perfect to get your parents' affection.
That's my point. I do.
We stared at each other, our chests heaving, our bodies close, but our minds light years apart. Vivian broke eye contact first.
It's been a long night, and I'm tired,
she said.
But I wish you'd at least try to see where I'm coming from. Your view of the world is not universal. I want a partner, Dante. Not someone who'll berate me because he doesn't agree with the way I handle my relationship with my own family.
Remorse blunted the edge of my anger. Sweetheart.
I'm going to take a bath and do some work after. Don't wait up for me.
The bathroom door closed with a click behind her. That night, for the first time since we started dating, we went to bed without kissing the other goodnight.
All right, and that is today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys enjoyed, definitely let me know down in the comments, and download the episodes as well as all that good stuff, all the things that you do. Love you guys all. I'll see you on Friday for the November free Patreon Day episode. All right, don't forget that. And yeah, that'll be it for me. Love you guys all, and peace.